Valamogolis, everybody. It's the Hype Watch back again for another episode of Game of Thrones. This one for Season 7, Episode 6, Beyond the Wall. And as you can see, I got a, larger than usual panel with us today. We have our distinguished guest, Mr. Quinn from Ideas of Ice and Fire. We have Tinker Jasso, all the way from Spain. And of course, Jerry, James, and Sir L.T. Giles. And do we even want to do intros today, or do we just want to get right into this?
No, let's just get going.
All right. So, we start off Beyond the Wall with Jon and company, and they're back and forth banter, and, we get a callback because the season's been all about callbacks, with Tormund saying how many people died for Mance Raider's pride when it comes to the whole thing about Jon not bending the knee. Gendry is still mad at the Brotherhood without banners for selling him to Melisandre and him almost dying, but the Hound kind of shuts him down on that and basically calls him everything except a cunt for some reason. Jon and Jorah talk about their fathers and how they wish they were still here, and etc., etc. Jon tries to give back Longclaw, but Jorah won't accept it because it's like, hey, my dad gave you the sword, and give it to your kids, and, hopefully they'll make you proud, too. So, we'll start off with Tinker real quick. How did you feel about the opening of the episode?
Well, I feel that in general, I'm less critical of this entire panel. It's been a few episodes ago since I just stopped caring about, the teleporting, the logical, and that's just, I don't care. I'm just fully just not thinking about the books or logics, just enjoying it. And I've got to admit, I kind of enjoyed the banter. I kind of resented a bit the fact that I think that they're trying to make me like Jorah. As everyone knows, I dislike Jorah, mainly because of the books. I just didn't like that. He was actually nice about the whole exchange. And it's, when you hate a character and they're trying to make you like it again and you just don't want to. So I just like that. But I like the Hound, and I really like how he just cuts through everyone's bullshit. He's just, I kind of like it. He just can't take it. Just, whatever. I enjoy these little interactions of these weird kind of group that just finds himself together. And I like Tormund. I like everything about Tormund in this episode. So
okay, cool. Quinn?
Oh my god. So I hate it when Beric Dondarrion to Jon was like, you don't look anything like your father. I was like, what the fuck? Like in the book, like over and over and over again, it's like hammering in how much Jon Snow looks like Ned. That shit pissed me the fuck off. And then also when Beric was like, oh, the Lord of Light brought us back and no one else. I was like, oh my god, it's like they're just pissing in my fucking face. Like, it's like, oh yeah, it's like, because Beric is fucking dead and Stone, I mean, you know what I mean. But like, oh god, some of the dialogue was good. Some of it was good. Like, I always like the Hound. Like, the Hound is my dude. I like the Hound. But I mean, I like Tormund. I like how he's like got a crush on Brienne and stuff. I think that's kind of cute. But my god, man. I mean, the opening is not what bothered. The opening did not bother me as much as the rest. So yeah, it was mediocre, but it wasn't horrible yet. So yeah, that's my opinion on the opening.
Okay, continuing with the trend, Jerry, it looks like you really got something to say.
Well, I mean, actually, that's actually two of the scenes, because the first one was just the whole Jon one came in the next scene with them. But yeah, that was total bullshit too. That's the reason Caitlyn hated Jon so much. Part of the reason, because he looked like Ned. And then trying to be cute, saying, oh, maybe you look like your mother. Well, you know what? She looked like a fucking Stark too, so that doesn't even make sense.
Okay. I have to mention, to be fair, that they can't actually say that in the show because Sean Bean and Kit Harington don't look anything alike. If they say he looks just like his dad, come on, no one would believe the hell because they just don't look alike. And that would be pandering to the book when it would make no sense in the show.
That's maybe because Sean Bean doesn't look like Ned. But anyways, then Jorah, yes, he's been officially rewritten. Jorah's talking nice about Ned Stark. He's fucking, talking great about his father. He's acting like, yeah, it was my fault. This isn't Jorah. I don't know what the fuck this is. This is like, let's rally everyone to Team Jorah. Let's rewrite him and make him great. Whatever, fuck that. What else?
I mean,
oh yeah,
but Jerry Arcade, really quickly. Here's the thing. What did you expect Jorah to say? Like, yeah, fuck your father. I know you said he was a great man.
I expected him to say that might have meant for some drama, maybe some real drama instead of the manufactured bullshit that we get. But anyways, besides that, Tormund was funny, the Hound was funny, although I didn't know the term ginger existed in Westeros, but whatever. We got jokes. That's all I gotta say. We got jokes.
All right, LT.
Yeah, I told Jerry, I want to say a few days ago or last week, that this isn't the same show since season 3, season 4-ish. It's a whole new show, and it's a different universe from the books. So it doesn't bother me as much, that stuff. I mean, yeah, I of course we know that Jon looks like Ned in the books, but if you're going by Sean Bean, I'd say Arya looks the most like Ed. But anyways, yeah, the Hound and Tormund are awesome together, and the Hound makes me smile talking about Brienne. It's just, and then the Hound saying, yeah, I met her or whatever, and that whole scene was funny. I liked it for both scenes.
Okay, James.
Yeah. I mean, this part of the episode is fine. I mean, I don't let at this point the differences from the book bother me, because it's just not the world that they're crafting. So the fact that they've say these things that would be different is just because the things that bother me is when they're illogical in their own world that they crafted. So I can accept the fact that Beric says that to Jon. It's whatever, because they never mentioned ever in the show that Jon looks like Ned. That hasn't been said in the show, so I can kind of give it a pass. I do question. I mean, at this point, it is what it is. Like I said, I have accepted the fact that I'm eating McDonald's now and not a filet mignon, which I expected. But it was interesting that Tormund was the one to bring up about Mance. He a champion of Mance the whole time, and he's the one that brings up the fact that him not bending the knee is the reason why a lot of wildlings died. I do question why D&D made Jorah so much better on the show than the book. Like, I want to know their if I could ask them some questions, I want to know their thought process on why they push a character that was pretty, in my opinion, detestable in the book, and made him such a much more lovable character in the book
agree.
or the show. Yeah, and then they choose. It's like they choose what characters they want to push and choose what characters they want to bury. Stannis is an example that comes first to my mind. So I don't understand I'd like to know their thought process on why they make those decisions. I did catch that D&D loves their dick and pussy jokes, which they had with the Hound and Tormund. They like to push that language, but it is what it is. And I also noticed when I was watching this first scene, and they are going to become important later in this episode, is who are these random red shirts? Because in the last episode, it was just the 7 walking out of Eastwatch, and now they got these random red shirts in this episode that just I guess maybe they came out afterwards and was like, hey, we're going to join you guys because we need random people to kill. But yeah, those were some of the things I took from that first scene. Those first couple scenes.
I think one of those random red shirts might have been Conor McGregor, because they said he's supposed to be in this season, but I haven't seen him yet. So maybe one of those random red shirts is Conor McGregor.
We'll see. But one thing I wanted to add before LT goes, the whole pride thing about Mance Rayder, they totally have fucked. Okay, they had established that the wildlings do not bend the knee, accept things, and now they're like, oh yeah, he should have bent it. Fuck them. There you go.
Okay, LT. Well, no, LT went already for this one.
So you guys heard what I said just now, right?
Right.
About Conor McGregor, yeah.
Okay, yeah, we're good. Yeah, we're good.
All right, so let's move on. So next up we have Arya and Sansa reminiscing at Winterfell, where she talks about how she picked up the bow and shot all these arrows, and finally she hits the target. Ned cheers her on, and she realizes that the rules were not fair. And then she proceeds to show Sansa the letter and scolds Sansa about being disloyal to the family. Sansa actually stands up to Arya and is like, hey, you know what? If it wasn't for me, if it wasn't for this one right here, no Winterfell for any of us. Bend a knee, goddammit. Arya threatens to tell the rest of the Northern Lords on Sansa and then walks away. So I'll be honest with you. I had mixed feelings on this scene. Arya seemed to be, just extra petulant, super petty, and I don't know what other words I could use, but I was just like, you know what? Yeah, fuck Arya right now with the dumb shit she's talking. She knows that Sansa is not a fighter. Sansa is not someone who was willing to die for the cause when she was like 12 years old. So yeah, I wasn't feeling Arya on that one at all. But Quinn, I know you got some thoughts on this one.
Oh my god, I just hate Arya so much right now. I just feel like she's so stupid and she's antagonizing Sansa for no reason. She's so cringy. I just hate everything about her. Like, why is she doing this? And then the endings, the other scene, which we're not talking about yet, I don't guess. But like,
we'll get to it.
I mean, Jesus Christ! I mean, I've disliked Arya this entire season. I feel like her story has been on a decline since season 5, and now she's just like a crazy like psychopath Hannibal Lecter wannabe, like telling her, like, why is she trying to destroy? I mean, she's like, the White Walkers are fucking coming. Like, Jesus fucking Christ! Like, why is she trying to rip the North apart? Like, what is she gonna gain by doing this to Sansa? Sansa is clearly loyal to the North at this point. I feel like they're just making Arya just like so crazy and antagonistic towards Sansa for no reason, just to like build up this bullshit drama in the North. And it's not working for me at all.
Okay. Jerry, we'll go to you now.
So it's funny that Quinn should mention Hannibal Lecter, because I'll mention something later that'll be kind of similar. But yeah, I hated that they brought up that one stupid scene from season 1 where she shot the arrow. That's the one thing that pissed me off. But at least they're being consistent. At least they kept with it. And yeah, she is fucking awesome. I mean, it's true that with Sansa's help, she told Cersei that they were leaving, but that really wasn't done in the show. It's so easy to explain. They forced her to do this, just like they forced her to marry Tyrion. I think all the lords would understand, except for Lyanna Mormont, because she's crazy. But yeah, it just makes no sense. They're making a big deal out of nothing, and they're trying to trick the audience into thinking it's a big deal. But whatever.
All right, Tinker.
I'm not being a whole fan of this storyline at all, because I think both of them are actually completely stupid. They're trying to do this whole thing that Littlefinger wants to separate the sisters so he doesn't want them to bond or whatever. But they're both acting ridiculous. Arya thinks that she's like this super assassin spy, but cannot see how obvious it is that she's being manipulated. And Sansa is also not seeing how Littlefinger is she says that, she understands that Littlefinger cannot be trusted. But everyone tells her that he cannot be trusted, and she says that, she knows what she's doing, but she cannot see what the hell he's doing, but it makes no sense. And it's just, I've passed a lot of, logical things, but this is just, because, the other part doesn't bother me as much, because at least it's entertaining. If this show keeps on entertaining me, I'll let it pass, because it's been a few seasons, after a few other seasons, I'm like, oh, whatever. Just don't get your head, don't get pissed off. But this is just ridiculous. And then later on, it's like, you have no idea, what the hell does Arya want? Because later what happens in the last scene between them, you're like, wait, what's the point of, I just don't understand what's the point of any of this. At least in the other scene while they're on the wall, you know what the point of it is. They want to show a great action scene, then they want this whole drama with the dragon, and then they want the rest. It at least makes sense what they want to do. I just don't get what they're trying to do with any of this. Nothing makes sense, and it's just cringeworthy.
Absolutely.
Well, I will say that at least I think they're trying to make Sansa Stark, but because think about it, yeah, they're telling her that not to trust Littlefinger, but you know what? Littlefinger himself told Ned not to trust him, and he still trusted him. So the Stark thing to do is to not listen and trust Littlefinger.
Starks are retarded.
Yeah, you know what? Also, I forgot to mention, they should both bend the knee to Littlefinger because he's the one who saved that battle. She was totally right.
Shut up.
Jon lost the battle of the
Shut
bastards.
up. Oh,
Littlefinger saved it with the Knights of the Vale. He was the true hero of the North.
Fight.
And the knee to Littlefinger.
Oh god.
Oh god. Oh man.
I just don't buy Sansa. That Sansa's all like, "Oh, we need bales of hay and put some leather on that armor." I'm like, "What the fuck? I mean, you think I'm supposed to believe that shit? Like, come on now. Whatever."
You know,
Oh my god.
all of this will be worth it for me if it ends up with Baelish's death. If Baelish dies at the end,
I'm pretty sure he's gonna die.
pass.
You need to check Twitter.
Just because I've been dying to see him die for since the first book.
I'm sorry to bust your bubble, and I'm sorry, but in the plot leaks, there's no Baelish death.
All right, listen. We're not talking. No, we're not talking about plot. All right.
At this point, it doesn't even matter, man. They're all coming true anyway, so who cares?
All right. Well, either way,
I thought he was going to die in the next episode.
Well, look, LT, it's your turn to go anyway about this scene.
King Baelish, he's not dying. Sorry, I want him to. I hate him, but he's not dying. Okay, Jerry, you're talking about you hate the whole Arya making the arrow thing, but Arya did say in the scene that she practiced for hours and shot over 1,000 times, and then Ned finally clapped. So that makes it logical. So don't quiet on that. Okay. Now this scene was cringeworthy. I agree with you guys. Arya is weird, and I laughed so hard when Quinn said the Hannibal Lecter thing because she's like not herself. She's not herself. Bran's not himself. It's like really frustrating. Like bring her back, man. I mean, hopefully when they because this is what I think is gonna happen, and I think they're fighting now. But Littlefinger will die, and maybe we'll get both characters back after Littlefinger dies because Arya is not Arya right now. She's like somebody else.
I got a quick rebuttal to what LT said. You ever shot a bow? You shot any weapon? It takes more than a few hours.
No, she didn't say 2 hours. She said she shot over 1,000 times.
It takes longer than... What, did she say 1,000?
20 to 50 times.
Yeah, it was like 20 or 50.
Yeah, even they take longer than that.
Well, no. I think it was like she said it was either on the 20th or the 50th shot that she actually hit the bullseye.
Yeah.
She forgets
which
one. But I mean, listen, are we really? Hold on 1 second. Are we really just gonna bash them over how many times it took her to shoot a damn arrow into a bullseye?
Yeah, I mean,
really?
let's just agree it's ridiculous and move on. And at least
I'm not agreeing it's ridiculous. That was the one thing I liked about the scene, and you had to poke at that. I mean, everything else was garbage, but I like that. So
I also like that. It's a nice moment between Arya and Ned. A very Ned Arya kind of moment.
Right. All right. Let's give James his say before we move on.
Well, I'll be pretty quick. To me, this is the word. Even though I will point out that there's some things I didn't like about what happened afterwards. To me, the Arya Sansa stuff was the worst stuff of this episode, in my opinion. To me, it's just forced drama, and it is what it is. I just don't like it, and maybe people do, but I don't like it, and that's all I got to say about that.
Those are my faces.
We're gonna get to that. Oh, we're definitely
we'll get to that.
Man.
Just keep on with the Arya and Sansa train.
Yeah.
why don't we try something different? Why don't we just talk about that scene and then move on to something else?
All right. So you guys want to keep on with Arya and Sansa?
Yeah,
because the other team was so fucking stupid, right?
All right. Well,
I probably got the least of them. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dom.
No, I was going to say before we get to that, we got to get to Sansa talking to Baelish about where did she get that letter from? What did she plan on doing with it? And Brienne actually, not Brienne, but Baelish saying that hey, Brienne swore to serve you both, so if there happens to be any drama, she's going to have to kind of intercede, which is, him kind of slyly saying, like, hey, you might have to have Brienne kill your sister if she tries something stupid with you. What's up, James?
I can go pretty quick on, like, if we're just knocking out all the stuff that happened at Winterfell, like, I didn't like the Arya stuff. Arya and Sansa stuff, and pretty much the only thing I wrote in my notes that came from this was Jon probably should have sent a Raven to Winterfell that they were going to Eastwatch. How come that didn't happen? Like that could have alleviated some tensions. That's the one thing I took away from what happened in the North.
Okay,
that's what I was wondering. Okay, the time thing here. So Sansa says that she hasn't heard weeks from Jon. I assume that meant that he sent a raven from Eastwatch that he's going north, and it's been weeks since that. That's what I assume. Either that or Jon's just an asshole who doesn't tell anyone anything.
Nah, I didn't get that.
So Jon's an asshole.
Yeah, it really seems like it, But Quinn, you got something on this part?
On just the Littlefinger part, and well, why is Littlefinger still in Winterfell? Everybody knows this motherfucker's untrustworthy. Send this motherfucker away. God dang, I just can't.
Thank you very much.
I just can't buy that. Like they've got Littlefinger around and it's just hanging out, and I'm just wondering what Bran's doing. See, I can't really fault Bran because I know he's doing the key sets Haderach thing, manipulating the situations because he needs certain stuff. At least that's what I think. That's what I want to believe. But this show, I don't fucking know. It could just be some random bullshit because they don't fucking give a shit anymore. But yeah, I'm just wondering why Littlefinger is still there and he's so clearly manipulating both of them, and both of them are just buying into it. And then, do you want me to talk about all the stuff that happened at Winterfell?
Now, you know what? I'm gonna combine the rest of that stuff after this.
Oh yeah, okay. So yeah,
because I want to give everyone a chance to speak on it.
Yeah, I think Sansa is ridiculous to not see that Littlefinger is manipulating her just like Arya is. So
okay,
stupidity continues.
Because he's the hero of the North.
Tinker.
It's just I don't have anything more to say than what Ideas just said, because it's just.
Okay.
I want to talk about the last part. That's the part that just.
Okay, we're gonna I'll meld all of that together in a moment. I'm sorry that I'm going off of the way that I have my notes written out. LT, any thoughts on Littlefinger's manipulation of Sansa to try to get Brienne to kill her?
It's funny because we see in the scene where Arya is basically owning Brienne, so could she really stop Arya if but you know what? I'll tell you, at this point, if Brienne were to kill Arya and defend Sansa, that would be something I would have never expected. It would come out of left field. So if they did that, I would be shocked, and that would be crazy. I don't want that to happen.
Okay. Real quick, we have one question I think is very good for what we're talking about right now. And that is from Plexi Bertrand. And that is, what are the chances of a Littlefinger coup, or Sansa is playing Littlefinger and Arya? Or is that too much to hope for Dan and Dave to throw us that kind of curveball?
Yeah, it's too much to hope.
I don't get the impression that they're manipulating Littlefinger at all. I get the impression that they're both playing into Littlefinger's hands. But I could be wrong. But we'll see.
Did I miss I thought the question was that Littlefinger's playing both of them. It's what's the question again?
What's the chance of a Littlefinger coup, or is Sansa playing?
It says a Winterfell coup.
Winterfell coup? Okay. I don't
know what that means though.
Maybe okay. They're asking if
Littlefinger's gonna try to take over control, right? That's what I understood.
Yeah,
or that the girls are playing him.
That's what I'm thinking, and it's is Sansa playing both Littlefinger and Arya?
Wait,
it's possible, but I think it would be so much cooler if Littlefinger just went to King's Landing and was with Cersei. I think it'd be better. That'd be much better.
Okay, and apparently so far the chat is agreeing. Too much to hope. So we're gonna move on to the rest of the Winterfell scenes. All right, so we get the raven that Sansa gets from King's Landing, asking her to come see Cersei. She sends Brienne. Brienne is kind of like, hey, I don't want to leave you here with Littlefinger. And at the end of it, it kind of seems as though Sansa trusts Littlefinger. I put a question mark at the end of that one because I was not sure. And the last thing is Sansa sneaks in Arya's room, finds some faces. Arya tells Sansa about the game of Faceless and her training to be a faceless man. And then she basically threatens to kill Arya and take her face and steal her life and be her for the rest of all time. So, you know what? I want to start off with Quinn because I know that Quinn definitely has something interesting to say about this.
Yeah. Okay. So, The Brienne scene, first of all, it was a little weird to me because at first it seems like Brienne is encouraging Sansa to go. She's all like, "You're the lady of Winterfell," and then Sansa's like, "I'm not gonna go. I'm staying here." But then she changes it and she's like, "But it's not safe here." So I'm like, "What the fuck do you want, Brienne?" But yeah, Sansa made the right decision by not going. Whatever. Moving on to the Arya faces scene. Now that shit was ridiculous. Like those faces look like fucking rubber mask from goddamn Party City. Like those are the worst props that I've ever seen. And then Arya walks in with her fucking like cringy walk. She's like, let's play a game. Do you want to play a game? The last person that asked me questions, it didn't work out too well for them." And then the way she says, the way Sansa's like, "What are these?" And then she says, "Those are my faces." Like she's so, I'm like, what are they doing with this character? What is she, like a serial killer or something? And then Sansa's face, Sansa just looks so disgusted. Like she's looking at her like, "Bitch, what? Bitch, what?" And I'm like, Sansa's face is me because this bitch is crazy now. Like, what are they doing with Arya, man? It's like she's not even Arya. That one scene where she's talking about shooting the arrow, that was the most Arya has been this entire season. So like now she's like totally nuts, psychopath. I don't understand what she's doing. Why did she give Sansa the dagger at the end? I don't get that.
I mean, that's what I asked too.
Well, all right. If I had to interpret why she gave her the dagger, it was kind of like, yeah, be on guard, because if you can't kill me with this, I'm going to kill you with it. That's what I got from it.
She's a little psychopath, isn't she? She's gone completely off the deep end. I just don't like her anymore. And she's threatening Sansa for no reason. Crazy bitch.
I gotta go next on this one, but
go ahead.
First off, Brienne, why are they sending anyone to King's Landing in the first place? Isn't Jon going there to represent the North? Who else? Why do they need Brienne there? Whatever. So that makes no sense. Yeah, and then Arya, yeah, Jerry prediction correct. She did have a magic leak bag full of infinite faces. I knew it. Legend of Zelda. There we go. And yeah, Arya, I in my notes I put here, Arya sounds like fucking Jigsaw. Would you like to play a game? She's like a mix of Jigsaw and Castor Troll. Like, what the hell is going on here? Yeah, those masks look even worse than Ethan Hunt's, shit.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's like it's stolen from Mission Impossible. Like, ever since she's been taking off the faces, I've been thinking of Mission Impossible the entire fucking time. Like, earlier this season, like, I was like, this is Mission Impossible. Like, what the fuck? God damn it.
All right, James?
Yeah, I mean, the whole... everything involving the Faceless Men portrayed in the show has kind of bothered me. And yeah, the bag of faces, I don't know, man. It is what it is. I didn't really enjoy that scene. And yeah, it's like, I feel like they're going with the whole, I guess, not. It's like one of those tropes you see in movies where, like, we know that a person was in the right or in a situation they couldn't get out of, so they did an action, and then like another character has to be either that it has to be against that, or they don't have the full story, or don't understand the whole situation, and then they got to go through this whole song and dance, and then eventually the truth will be revealed, and they'll make up. And it's just like such an overused trope, and to me it's just lazy. And like I said, as much as there's an issue later, the Arya Sansa scenes, I was just checked out. It is what it is.
Okay, LT.
Yeah, like I said, Arya's not herself, and that's both funny about the Sons and Lamb and the Jigsaw thing. So the faces was ridiculous. I have no idea what she meant by giving Sansa the dagger, but I just thought of this. Maybe when they do kill Littlefinger, maybe it's going to be Sansa the one to strike the blow. Maybe she's going to have the dagger on her because Arya gave it to her, and she's going to be... what's funny? Another thing I thought of, too, because the faces, Jerry, like, what if, like, when you said, I would have got away with it if it wasn't for you kids, one of them pulled Okay, go ahead, James.
I was going to say that Sansa killing Littlefinger would make the most narrative sense if she's the one to strike the killing blow.
Okay. Well, Jerry, what if before they kill him, they rip off? He has a mask and he's somebody else.
Oh God!
I would have got away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids.
Like, he's Jaqen H'ghar or somebody. He's not really Littlefinger. That would be another thing. That would be another thing that would come out of left field that I would never expect. if they
Well,
do.
no, it's not
Kill me.
just Jack and Agar. It's Jack and Agar with the fucking ugly face that he had in season 2. How about that?
And everyone's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "It's me, Jack and Agar."
What happened to
He pulls
Littlefinger?
it up. It's Serial Pharrell.
I was all of these
God.
people.
No. Oh man. All right, take her.
That, I was so bothered by the scene that I didn't even care how cheap or fake those masks looked like. I didn't even care. Because that entire thing made absolutely no sense. Like, Sansa's reaction to finding the creepy masks, I understand. You find those creepy masks, and I'm guessing they felt real. They obviously didn't look like it, but I'm guessing that they probably felt real. But the whole thing just made absolutely no sense. Because then Arya kind of reveals everything, what the hell for, without any plan. Then gives her, she basically says, I can, become you, kill you and become you, but then she doesn't do it, but it gives her it's just, I don't understand. I was genuinely confused. I was like, what the hell has happened? One thing is when you have, logic problems and you're like, oh, what the hell have they done? But you're like, oh, well, at least, but this, I was like, I had to actually go back and see it again. It was just terrible. Arya was like, I don't know, what are you doing? Who do you think you are? I don't know. It just, I have no idea. That whole thing is a mess. They have to solve, they just have to end it. Please just end this horrible, dreadful storyline next episode. Just leave it closed. Just please don't let it linger to the next season. Just finish it because it's not going well. It's dreadful. And it's cringeworthy. It's not even entertaining. Come on, if you're at this point, if you have logic problems, but you're entertaining me, I'm okay with it. I'm letting them a lot pass. But this isn't even entertaining. This is just horrible to watch. This is just painful to watch. I was like, oh God, please just let it end.
Oh man. Okay. Let's see. We got everybody on this one, right? Yeah, I think we got everybody on this one. All right, so let's move. Let's move on to Dragonstone. All right, so Dany and Tyrion talk about how heroes, trying to always one up each other is stupid. They discuss strategy, and it seems like Daenerys still does not trust Tyrion. And look, people keep on saying that, oh no, she's not turning Mad Queen. But when Tyrion brings up the whole thing about the line of succession, Daenerys is just like, I don't want to talk about shit until I'm sitting on the Iron Throne. And he's like, he brings up valid points. It's like, yo, you know what? You kind of could have died at the Field of Fire. And if you die, this whole venture that we're on right now is over. And basically Cersei wins. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Anybody else, still getting the vibe, or has anyone else got the vibe that Daenerys might be slightly crazy?
No. I don't got the about the crazy, but I'm calling it right now. I don't know about the books, but the show, she's doomed. She's dead. She's gonna die. I'm sorry, all the Dany fans. When they're asking, when Tyrion is trying to tell her to pick an heir, she's not going to pick an heir and she's going to end up dying. Who knows if there's going to be a king at the end. But, yeah, she's done. I'm sorry. That's what I got out the scene. I don't
think so. This is done and date. This is not the books. I'm not expecting, anything complex. I'm expecting her and Jon to get married and have a sort of happy ending. This is the show, after all.
I'm just saying what I think and what I'm calling. That's what I'm saying. I think it's
I'm going to agree with LT, but I don't think it happens until I think Dan and Dave will put it off until they finally decide to go with the George R. R. Martin endpoints, because I believe that Dany is going to be Jon's Nisa. I think it's prophesized in the House of Undying. I think there's so many signs to it. If you just listen to Tony Teflon, listen to our House of the Undying video, listen to the Lucifer meets Lightbringer. There's so many signs to it. I think that's eventually what's going to happen. But they're going to hold off as long as they can with that.
I do have a rebuttal to that particular point is the fact that they have never brought up Nisa on the show or any of that prophecy on the show. That's my.
Well,
that's
I'm not
my
saying
counterpoint to
it's gonna be like Nisa. I'm just saying if her endpoint is to be Nisa in the books, she's gonna die in the show.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they've gone to the point where they've pushed Dany so far at this point that I don't even know if they might just say fuck it, we're doing this shit. And
I think
Dany,
at this point they're doing their own stuff.
Yeah, that's
if they do their own stuff, I would love that. But they claim that they're going to do the same endpoint, but everyone has the same endpoint.
I just got one more point on this scene and I'm done. Okay, so Tyrion says, Jon Snow loves you. He got it completely wrong. At this point, Daenerys loves you. I mean, I know what happens later, but at this point, it's like she's more feeling him than he's feeling her. So he should have been like, I know you love Jon, not the other way around.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think it's both.
Yeah, I think it's both too. And about Daenerys dying, I think if she does die on the show, it has to be at the very end because they are not killing off their most popular character until they have milked every fucking last fucking cent out of this shit. So like,
yeah, I don't mean right now.
I know what you mean. Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah. But I'm just saying that if she does die, it will be like way later. But yeah, I thought the Tyrion Sansa stuff was the most forgettable stuff of the entire episode.
Okay.
And I think they like Dany too much. I think they like Dany, but more importantly, they like what Dany gives to the show. The dragons and all that kind of stuff. It's really what's made the show big, like popular, like not to the book readers, but to like the general people that have come to the show without the books. So
yeah.
I don't.
Once we get to episode 5 or 6, that doesn't matter anymore, especially 6.
And I think that they really want to do their own thing at this point, and it's impossible to do the same ending. They've gone so far away from the books; it's just impossible. And I think that they're pushing Jon and Dany. You know, come on, the ending. It wouldn't make any sense for her to die now. And I think that she clearly states at the end when she's like, "I can't have any children." You know, I think that's why she's so offended by what Tyrion is trying to say. And that time it was very important for a woman to be able to bear children. A woman who could not have children was considered an old maid and was practically useless. It's hard for a woman to be a queen in that time, much less a woman that can't actually have children. So I understand why she would be defensive.
Okay.
I mean, let's be honest here.
Especially in that time. Most women were only considered any good if they could actually have children. If you can't have any children, then you're practically useless in that time. Now she's kind of, with her dragons and with her army, she's queen. But the fact that they're like saying, oh, you have to have an heir, just I can understand why she's defensive. I'm not saying it's well written or that they're actually showing it in any... I don't think they know how to manage Dany very well, or her logical points, or how she goes from A to B to C. But that's what I'm reading from it, as badly done as it is.
But
I think part of it has to do...
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, part of it has to do with they keep pushing this bullshit about breaking the wheel. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Aegon see, they're just going all kinds of... I don't know what they're trying to push on everyone with this nonsense. And... So I mean, whatever they're trying to do is why everyone's saying such stupid shit all the time with this, and even this is kind of stupid because there's no replacement for Daniel. At this point, there is no one else who can lead a rebellion against Cersei. So if she dies with an heir, who's gonna follow that heir against Cersei? This is like a pointless conversation that they're having. What a waste of a few minutes.
All right.
I kind of disagree. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to ask if anyone has any more thoughts on this scene or should we move
on?
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead, LT. Go ahead, LT.
Okay, I was going to say, first of all, it does make sense to get an heir. If we look at, in history, there's plenty of monarchs that didn't have an heir and they named an heir, like Julius Caesar. He named him an heir, he never had an heir. And regardless, I don't think everything dies if she dies. If there is an heir and somebody who's a good leader, it can be a strong leader. That's just my opinion.
Okay, James?
Yeah. My thoughts on the scene is that it was once again for forced tension that they're doing with Arya and Sansa. They're just trying to make conflict because they have to pad the runtime. I didn't, I mean, I was going to bring this up later with the Jon and Dany scenes, but and this kind of bugs me too, maybe a little even more than the later scene. Is that it feels like their romance is forced. It was accelerated way too quick, and that we needed more. You know, they wanted to have only 7 episodes. We could have had 10 episodes. You could have built more character development between those two to make their reactions towards each other more believable, in my opinion. But we can talk about that later. But yeah, that is a point. Because like when Tyrion brings up, you know, Jon Snow, she's like all quivering and stuff, and to me it just seems forced and unbelievable to me. Their relationship to this point, it just like she's so, you know, she's gonna go up north for him, and they accelerated it too quickly, in my opinion.
I mean, listen, what do you expect? They're horny 20-something-year-olds, you know?
Well, I mean,
I don't get why there are 7 episodes. I don't get why there aren't 10.
Exactly. I mean, you could have had another episode of just Alone taking up High Garden and Cashley Rock.
The way they talked about this season beforehand, they were like, "This has got to be the greatest season. Every episode, we're gonna do all these amazing things." And I was just, I was buying into. I can't believe I bought into the hype. I did, and then I'm just like, first episode, so fucking disappointing. I'm just like, that felt so short. Just got progressively worse. The high point of this whole season was when Daenerys burnt those fucking Lannisters with a dragon. That was the high part of the entire season, and everything else sucks.
Okay.
Sucks. It fucking sucks.
Oh,
They just want to have the money to do a lot of dragons. Like the dragons, they look really good.
Yeah, that's
what they wanted.
Best dragons I've ever seen on anything ever.
And no, also I agree
can't
with you.
distinguish Viserion and Rhaegal anymore. Can any of y'all?
They all
No,
look kind of the
some of them
same color,
look
don't they?
Yeah.
I agree with Quinn about, you know, it should be 10, and James about it be 10 episodes, because when Euron came off the boat, it was so badass, but people probably already forgot about that. And if we don't see him in episode 10 by next season, we probably forgot about that. And it's a shame.
Oh, you'll see him. He's gonna put a finger in the bum.
Oh, come on.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Oh man, so oh god. All right, so
Hey, but these dragons look awesome. When they were like going out there, like when they were gonna go to the north.
That looks
you, like,
so cool.
Right. Well, listen, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Let's talk about.
We have to give the animators props, like who's doing the special effects on the dragons deserves every single cent they're getting paid.
Yes, most definitely. We'll get to the dragons, but let's get back north of the wall. We got to talk about white polar bears killing red shirts, the Hound freezing up when they decide to, you know, when Thoros and Beric attack the white polar bear. You got the polar bear on fire. It attacks Thoros. The Hound winds up freezing up, and Thoros gets bitten. I actually thought he was gonna die there, but he makes it to later on. We have Jorah and Thoros talking about the siege of Pike. They come across a small party of whites with a White Walker. Jon kills the White Walker, and most of the whites die except for one. They decide to wrap him up. He screams. That brings on the rest of the Night King army and the White Walkers. Gendry is sent back to Eastwatch and becomes the greatest sprinter of all time. Let's see here. They run onto the frozen lake. Red Shirt gets caught by the whites. They're at an impasse because the White Walkers are like, hey, we're not going to lose all of our army to the damn lake right now. And Jon and company are basically on this rock, freezing overnight. The next morning they find that Thoros is dead, and Beric decides, hey, you know what? We're already here. We see the Night King. Let's try to kill him right now, even though we got this big-ass army. We got this big-ass army here. You know what? I'm just gonna spell out the rest of the damn episode, and we can just take it off from there instead of breaking it all down scene by scene. All right, so since we already talked about the King's Landing, not the King's Landing stuff, the Winterfell stuff, Dany gets the letter, or the Raven or whatever, decides she wants to go north, even though Tyrion is telling her not a good idea. The Hound decides to throw rocks at the whites,
Yes.
and once they realize that the lake is now frozen
Oh my
over,
God.
they decide to storm the crew. Oh, did anyone else notice that Jorah actually had dragon glass daggers? Because I actually put that in my notes.
Yeah.
I did not notice that.
Yeah. Let's see. Tormund is saved by the Hound, even though he really probably should have been dead. Daenerys shows up with the dragons all burning everything. We get Super Night King with his super long spear that kills. I think it's supposed to be Viserion, but it's hard to tell. Dany and the survivors leave after Jon is like, "Gotta go, you gotta go, you gotta go." After that, Jon falls into the water. The White Walkers, after Dany leaves, is kind of like, all right, I guess we're done. Jon comes out of the water. They realize he's there. They're about to chase him and kill him. And then Benjen Coldhand shows up, sacrifices himself to save Jon, because for some reason, him getting on the horse with Jon just wouldn't have worked. And let's see here. Beric stays at the wall. Dany waits to see if Jon is actually gonna make it back. He does. They hop on the boat, peel off Jon's frozen furs. Dany sees Jon's scars, and let's see. Jon wakes up. He apologizes to Daenerys for her losing one of her dragons. Daenerys says she is fully on board with the war. Jon says that he is going to bend the knee. And then the last scene of the episode is the army of the dead with these massive chains. Who knows where the hell they got the damn chains from? And the Night King raises the dead dragon. Okay, so fuck it. Free for all.
I don't buy that Daenerys cares about her fucking dragons. Her reaction was so lackluster. I remember in season 2 when the dragons get stolen, she is freaking the fuck out. She's like, "Where are my dragons?" And in this, she's just like, "Oh, they're dead. I'm so sad." And it's like I don't even know. And in the white bear scene, see, I didn't have a huge problem with the scene itself, but after the scene is what I really had a problem with. Because like, how are the whites surprised when they see the fire? Because if they were attacking with the bear, they should have already known they're there. But that's fine. Maybe they're changing the lore a little bit. Maybe they're not like hive-minded or something. Because like in Hardhome, you definitely get an indication that they're all acting as one entity. And in when they go to Bloodraven's cave, you get the indication that they're acting as one entity. Like this is the first time where you've seen them you've seen like more like split structure or something. This is the first time they've introduced that the other White Walkers can raise to dead too, and not just the Night King. But I thought it was really freaking convenient that when Jon Snow kills the other, that all of the other ones die except for the one that they need. And then this one is just looking around all goofy. Like, when has a white done that? They always attack. They never stop attacking no matter what. So I feel like that white should have, like, jumped on one of them and just, like, kept trying to claw at them or some shit. But he's just like, what am I going to do? Like, it has some sense of self-preservation, which they're not supposed to. They're thralls. They don't have any sense of self-preservation. They threw themselves off a fucking cliff. They don't give a fuck about themselves. So why is it looking around like, oh, I don't want to hurt myself? All right, that's what I was saying. Somebody else can go. Yeah.
I'll just run down my notes on this. First off, I think the imagery of Beric and Thoros lighting up their swords, to me, that's awesome. For some reason, I always love hearing about Thoros at Pike. Like, to me, that's always cool. I don't know why. It's just like an awesome little story about Thoros, and I always enjoyed that moment with his characters when they're talking about how cool he was at Pike, and then, of course, he doesn't even remember it because he was too fucking drunk. I think that's awesome. To me, I guess they kind of established it with this, because it's not like, a zombie movie where, like, you kill, they die and they just come back, there's like a virus in the air. So I guess they're establishing the fact that that they only raise on the beckon of the individual White Walker. They're essentially warging into these thralls, or into the whites, and I guess so. Like, because I was thinking, like, why didn't they just wait for one of these red shirts that were dead after the bear white attack? Why didn't they just wait for one to raise up? But I guess it's because they have to be selected to be raised up, and it's not just so they die beyond the wall and they just get raised up. So I guess I can give that a pass. I wrote my notes. Why was the one white chilling with this band? Like, why was there a white that I guess was part of a different band, different White Walker? Why is he chilling with this band of white, of whites? But whatever. Yeah, it was the big logical fallacy that I was talking about. Of course, is the fact that these guys were able to stay alive. They didn't freeze to death. They didn't die of dehydration by the time that Gendry made it from where they were at to Eastwatch. They send a raven to Dragonstone, and then Dany receives said message and makes it from Dragonstone all the way to where they were before they froze to death or died of dehydration. To me, whether you can like this episode or not, hinges on the fact if you can accept that logical fallacy. I'm not saying you're wrong if you do, because maybe a lot of people don't know the geography of the show, because the show hasn't really explained it very well. So I can understand how a show watcher, can believe that, because they just haven't put those things down in their show. So I can see how a show watcher could, believe that happened. Whether you like it or not, I think hinges on that fact. It's weird because I personally couldn't tell which dragon was the one that got shot down. I guess it's Viserion from what I can tell on Twitter. But to me, it was like, okay, so Dany was on Drogon, and Viserion got killed, obviously. What happened to Rhaegal? Because it just was like flying around and it just like disappeared. I don't know what happened to Rhaegal. They never showed it afterwards. And also, to me, Benjen just felt like a narrative device because like there was no build up to Benjen at all. He just showed up for 2 seconds and of course gave up his life. To me, it was just like, we need to have a way to save Jon Snow. That's it. And then by Benjen. It was a cool scene though. Like, it was pretty badass seeing him swinging his thing around and killing some whites. It was pretty cool. But and also, I guess you don't get hypothermia from falling into a frozen lake and then riding on a horse all the way from where they were at to Eastwatch. I guess you don't get hypothermia.
300 miles. Remember that.
Yeah, and
Come
pretty
on,
much.
If Gendry could run that distance in that little time, Jon in a horse.
Yeah, at that point, like Jon not getting hypothermia was like nothing compared to the fact that they were able to get a raven down to Dragonstone and Dany back before they all died. But I digress. And yeah, like I said, with the Dany romance, once again, you need more episodes to build that because I just didn't buy it. Like, to me, it seems like a forced romance. Obviously, we know from the books, from the House of the Undying Prophecy, the Blue Rose and the Chink of the Wall of Ice, we know that they're probably going to get together. But in the show, to me, they haven't built up any reason why Dany would care so much about Jon Snow, that she cared more about Jon Snow dying than Viserion. There was, like, no indication of that, so... Yeah, there are some issues with this whole scene, but there's some cool things. Like I said, I actually enjoyed that all these characters that went beyond the wall, and I enjoy them more on the show than I do in the book. All 7 of them. So I enjoyed like seeing them, their banter. That the fighting was cool. I actually was pretty scared for Tormund. Like I thought he was gonna fucking die, and I like Tormund. Tormund is probably the one I like even more on the show than anyone else. Or in the book, because in the book he just really doesn't do much. He's still cool, but in the show they built him up a lot more. So, there's some things to like, but to me it hinges on whether you can accept that huge logical fallacy. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, all right. LT.
Wow, we've never done this before. Talking. So, if I forget anything, or if I want to add anything, I'll just go after everybody else. I'm gonna say as much as I can remember. Anyways, yeah, the bear scene was okay. I don't see why the whites just send one bear by himself and not a bunch of whites with them. Like, why just send one bear? It's like sending one of your soldiers out and nobody else. I didn't get that. And the Hound did freeze, kind of like the guy I was saying, Brian Ryan. It's probably the reason why Thoros died. But somebody had to go. I actually expected more people to go. I did not expect just one person to go out of all these guys. I didn't want no. I like all these characters, and I didn't want nobody to die, but I thought somebody had to go. But I was hoping, I was expecting more. The Night King looked like an athlete, man, when he threw that thing and he connected. And what the hell is that? Oh, I think that's my line. Let me myself. Somebody go ahead.
All right, Tinker.
I hated that the dragon died. I knew they were gonna do it, and I knew for story purposes that Dany was too overpowered, and they had to give the enemy one of the dragons. But I hate it. Like I didn't even notice that Dany wasn't so devastated because I was so devastated that I wasn't noticing Dany's reaction. Because I love dragons. I really, really like. I was watching it with my own very dragon, so I was not happy when we shared that. I was like not happy at all. I did enjoy all the action. Like it's one of the reasons why I kind of let it pass. I'm like at this point, Game of Thrones, if it entertains me and gives me like really cool stuff, I'll just let it pass. And I really enjoyed the whole scene, how it was shot, the fighting, it was just it really looked amazing. When the dragons came and started burning everything, I was like, what the hell? There's no way that Genji would have gotten there in time. Then the Raven, and then she flew back. Like it would have taken such a long time. But I don't even care because it looks amazing. So I'm having fun. So bah. Who cares? At this point, it's been episodes ago since I've cared about the teleporting from one place to another. I'm just at this point, I'm like, oh well, if it makes the story move along, I'm okay with it, especially because those dragons look amazing. They really do look fantastic. So I'm enjoying myself. The benching appearing was a bit, kind of like, oh well, they kind of needed it a bit, Deus Ex Machina. So, but I'm like, oh well. It also looked kind of cool. They needed to bring Benjamin back because they only had him there for for Bran. He kind of appeared, so they kind of had to give him an ending of sorts. So this was kind of a good ending. He saved one nephew and then he saves the other. And they kind of needed to make. I didn't understand why Jon. Like I know that they want to give him like the heroic moment of saving everything, but just the way that they left him behind was a bit forced. But I'm like, oh well, they need the whole drama of Dany waiting for him to. And by the way, I've got to mention it as the only girl in this panel. Oh my god, I love her wardrobe in this episode. She looked amazing. I don't know how they got her that nice winter beyond the wall white dress, but it looked awesome. Jerry, you're not a girl. You're not allowed to comment on wardrobe, especially because I don't trust your taste. But it looked amazing. It really looked amazing, and she looked fantastic with all the snow, winter. So that has to be mentioned. It has to be mentioned. She looked amazing, and the whole thing at the end, the romance and stuff. And I'm like, just since I saw it coming, it's nothing that I'm letting it pass. I'm letting it pass mainly because Kit Harington's hot. So I was like, yeah, I can believe that. Come on, she doesn't have many other options around. Like, come on, Sir Jorah, I think not. Tyrion, well, he's hot in his own way, but it's just, come on. From all of the other options, Jon Snow is the only viable options for her. So, after Dario, she left Dario behind. Oh well. Yeah, I'm just being honest with the show at this point. I'm good with it. I kind of like I'm with James. I loved it when like the swords and the fire. The vision looked really cool. It looked really cool, and the fighting looked amazing. So
Jerry's face is everything right now.
Yo, Jerry looks like
Jerry, you want to go
head
before
is
you
about
continue,
to
or
No,
explode.
you can go, LT.
come on, I'm not reading the books.
Go
ahead, LT.
Yeah, Tinker, I like that that dragon pendant thing she had on her, and she did look kind of cool. Now I wanna say this is from Titanic, but I don't know what movie this was. I think it was Titanic. And Jack said that when he fell in the water, I want to say it was Wisconsin or something, he felt like 1,000 knives struck him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And John fell in. Yes, okay. So and then John falls and somewhere probably way colder than Wisconsin, and he should have died down there. I mean, he was down there a good minute because he's down there, and all of a sudden he's a no, man. I'm sorry. And it's funny because I usually excuse these illogical and fallacies that you guys point out. I usually excuse the guy. I can't excuse that. John should be dead. maybe him he's a firelight, so maybe the fire in him pumped him to make him say, I don't know. As I was saying, the Night King looked like an athlete when he threw that thing and hit Viserion. I don't know if it's confirmed that's Viserion. We'll see. Probably is. I don't know. Yeah, they did look awesome, really awesome when they flew off from Dragonstone. They look cool. That's the thing about this show. The visuals, man, are amazing. I felt for Drogon. I'm not a Dany fan. I'm not a Dany fan at all. I hate most of her chapters in the books. They're really boring to me. I like some of them, but a lot of them are annoying. So, but what I'm saying is, I felt for Drogon when the Viserion got struck and he was like, ah! I felt for him. It was like, man, it was like, fuck. But I agree with Quinn about her not looking that sad. A movie that James was talking about he hates is Independence Day Resurgence, and there's a scene where the pilot, his mom gets killed, and you see his face is so fake. It's like, Mom! But it's just so fake, and it's similar to that. It's like, yeah, she did not have enough remorse. And it's like, I would think when John's like, I'm sorry, she'd be a little mad, but no, she forgave it all. And yeah, that's all I got for now. Your turn, Jerry.
Well, for the record, it has been confirmed that it was Viserion, just for the record.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Jerry, come on, bring us home, man.
Okay, I mean, yeah, this show has been way off with the books for a while, but at least it had some little tiny piece of the essence of someone. Characters died. They didn't really overuse red shirts. Stuff like that. They there was a little bit of the Song of Ice and Fire left in this, but after now, this thing is like every single fantasy just book. It's just
Jerry,
Okay.
it's fan fiction. Think of it as fan fiction.
It's terrible
It's kinda
fan fiction.
Like fan fiction. Anyway, let's get to the Revenant. The Ice Revenant. You get 3 red shirts that die. I couldn't. I think there was one bear. It looked like 2 because of some of the weird editing, but whatever. Yeah, Thoros. You expected someone to get Robert Shawed here, and Thoros got the Quint treatment. And let's see here, weeks. What do I have here? Oh yeah, so yeah, just as Quinn mentioned, how convenient only one lives, the exact number that they need, the one that they can grab. And how did they figure out Genry was the fastest? Did they have a race before going out here? And what direction are they going after that? Genry goes in one direction, they go in another. Why aren't they hightailing it out the same direction Genry is? With Genry going ahead, obviously, but still, like, oh my god. Of course, Redshirt Ford gets it. Don Willie, you have to rip on this whole battle. You know why? Because it's obvious where these whites came from. They came from every fucking kung fu movie and Into the Badlands, because they just fucking stood around there waiting, and it's just it's like every fucking cliche
I fucking hate that, and I forgot to mention it. But yeah, I do hate that aspect.
And they're just waiting. They're just standing there like, oh my god, what the fuck?
And then the hound throws a rock, and they're like, "Oh, I guess the water is frozen now. Now we can walk over." God damn it! God damn it!
Okay, I'll get to that in a minute. So,
just real quick, I'll say there's no way that 6 people should be able to fend off 1,000 at one time. There's just no way, but it's Hollywood, But go ahead.
Okay, first, actually, let's go back to the bear. That thing should have fucking ignited the second they got fire all over it. Why it was moving around so lively, I don't know. We all know whites are flammable, but whatever. I guess White Walker, I didn't think that they were warging into other, or skin changing into these beings. I figured that it's kind of like vampires, I guess, where they, one turns them, and they're like the mass of the control. You kill the head one, the rest die. That's how I saw it. Let's see, then Red Shirt 5. Yeah, oh yeah. Then they finally start going in. Red Shirt 5 and Red Shirt 6 get it. So I guess that does mean that there's 6 red shirts, 7. So there's 13, like the last hero. So how about that? There's a little bit of a nod out for the books. how are these sharp weapons killing knives? And they were killing them with stabbing them. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Or with like axes, like it was like, how are they doing this?
So, okay, I understand. And a little bit with the hammer. That's a blunt object. Like if we take Dungeons and Dragons rules, blunt objects kill things like skeletons and zombies and stuff like that. So okay, that kind of makes sense. But fucking sharp objects. These things don't even bleed. Some of them don't even have a midsection.
What are you stabbing through?
Stabbing it in the midsection. How's it killing them? Like, oh my god.
Gary, you do realize that you're watching the show and not reading the books.
God, but look at Hardhome though. Look at Hardhome. Look how hard they were to kill.
Like, okay, the show wasn't this bad before. Like, Hardhome wasn't this bad. So it's not like I'm still watching the same show. I mean, it's almost like a different show, but it still technically happened before. And then the fucking dragons come in. How the fuck did the ice not melt and drown everybody? Because they were fucking hitting around the thing. It should have heated it up so much that the ground just melted and they fell in the water. But
a lot of them did fall in the water.
Well, that wasn't because the ground was melting. That was because they broke the ice and it fell in. What a miraculous save!
Remember when fire went and they burned? They did fall. A lot of them did fall in the water.
Yeah, they did.
It should have got like spread around. It's dragon fire. The fucking ice should have melted much worse than that. And then why didn't they get that Night King? No one went for the Night. They're just, let's just get all these people who don't matter. Instead of going straight to the threat to end it. And man, that Night King, why wasn't he just throwing spears from the beginning at Jon Snow and the people? He's like, they're in that line. And man, that javelin. I haven't seen a javelin that aerodynamic since Lamar Latrell threw it in Revenge of the Nerds.
Well, I do hope we get some explanation to why that the Night King can automatically blow up a dragon with his lance. I hope we get some explanation on that.
That's a fucking ice javelin causing an explosion.
Yeah, I want that explanation.
Well, you know, all right. Here's what I would have to say about the dragon exploding. If you think about it, if you go back and replay the scene, from what I remember, he was already in the middle of kind of shooting fire as it was, and it seemed like he got hit towards the throat. So maybe he was already in the middle of breathing fire. He's, gets hit in the throat. And
so it created like an exhaust and like that kind of thing. Okay. I'll go with that. That could, we'll go with that. But it still doesn't make sense why they didn't want to go with them. And fucking the Night King's now Lamar Latrell. And finally when Benjen Cold hands, then these whites get smart and they're like, okay, we will bum rush and overtake them all, which they never did throughout they wanted to do this into the Badlands Kung Fu bullshit, whatever. And as far as Dany goes, I'm like, why are they making her leave? What? She has all the time in the world. She can go from anywhere in Westeros in a matter of seconds. Like, no time waits for her. And you know what? I'm going to give the show a little bit of break at the end. I did not mind that scene between Johnny and Dany after what they went through. Yeah, the build-up before that was not very good, but, I thought this scene was pretty well. It's not like we talked about sand or snow or how they hate it and stuff like that, or, they didn't say anything like, you look so beautiful because I'm in love or anything silly like that. I thought it was pretty decent. After all, she should like Jon at this point. Jon just topped Leonardo DiCaprio twice. He survived the Revenant and he survived the Titanic. So there you go. He probably could survive Dreams Within Dreams as well.
Mm-mm.
Jerry, did you have in your notes anything about when the Hound was like, give me the Warhammer, like a little kid kind of?
I had it in my notes when he makes that miraculous save on Tormund. Instead of them bum rushing, they have a few whites enough, just enough for the Hound to knock them all off. But whatever.
No, that pissed me off because another guy.
I had this in my notes, and shout out to Lucifer Means Lightbringer in the chat. Our boy Lucifer Means Lightbringer. He mentioned it as well. Where the fuck did they get those giant chains?
Yeah, you know what? We're gonna get to all that. Yeah.
Hold on. One last thing. Is it just me, or is the Night King makeup looking a little bit different than before? He looks more stretched. He looks almost more like Freddy Krueger.
Anybody notice that?
He's a different actor.
Is he? Because he looks more like Freddy Krueger now.
He looks different. He's not the same actor.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, then that makes sense.
It does.
You guys
look
didn't
like-
notice how his eyes were glowing in a few scenes? It seemed like his eyes were glowing. And real quick, this is real quick. I had a little prediction that I made for the books, and I thought this was going to come true when John got left. I thought that possibly this season the Night King was going to kick John's ass, and then he was going to retreat, and they're going to fight, go for round 2 in the next season. I thought it was going to happen, but it didn't.
All right. Can I jump in now and say my piece real quick?
Yes, and then I want to say something after you.
All right. So, yeah. Well, hold on. Let me just refer back to the notes real quick. So yeah, look, the banter back and forth was pretty cool. You know, seeing them having a nice little bonding experience. But really, I wish we had some scale of how far they had been walking, because you couldn't tell whether or not it was a few miles or if it was a few hundred miles. You know, because we just have absolutely no sense of presence or any scale as to what the map is supposed to be like. Let's see here. What else? Gendry being the fastest man in the world, you know, winning all kinds of gold medals, outshining Usain Bolt. I'm like, again, like we saw him leave. The sun was setting. He finally gets to the wall. I guess the sun is set, and then the next day Daenerys gets the Raven, and is already back beyond the wall, and this is before the sun has set again. So you're talking about in less than 24 hours, Gendry made it to the wall. He got the Raven off. The Raven got to Daenerys, and Daenerys got to be on the wall to save these guys before it was all over for him. How Tormund is still alive, I have absolutely no idea. Jon already died, and if we're going by what George said, he's still dead. So I can understand him not going into hypothermia and dying again, because he's resurrected by fire, which Barrack just kept on saying, yeah, the Lord of Light brought us back, and no one else. Lord of Light and no one else. You know, let's see what else. I don't know where the hell Daenerys wound up getting her damn ice dress from. You know, it was a badass make. I think Frank Lucas would be proud. But I'm like, when exactly did she get the super winter gear? Like, I don't even know when she had time to get that, but it still looked cool anyway. They should have done something to really distinguish the dragons, because I have absolutely no idea. Like, when I was watching the episode, I was like, it's probably Viserion, just because she didn't like Viserys anyway, but, you know, it was so damn hard to tell which one died. And then the whole thing with the damn chains, I'm like, okay, where did they get these chains from? Because it didn't look like the chains were made out of ice. It looked like the chains were made out of iron. And, I mean, we haven't heard of anything about any ships. I mean, first off, it was in a lake. It was a lake. It's not like it was by the sea. So you can't even use the excuse of, oh, there was a boat there, you know, that they got the chains from. Man, oh man. Daenerys having hardly no reaction to losing a dragon. Yeah, I don't even know what to say about that one. And yeah,
I will defend that she looked shocked. She looked shocked, and like some people react to things differently. Let's just say that.
I mean, she looked shocked, but it didn't have the emotional resonance that it should have had for that particular scene. At least for me, I didn't feel like she. It's not that I didn't feel like she didn't feel anything, but it was really one of those things where it was just like, all right, you know, oh, the dragon just died. Oh my god. I mean, look, she's talking about those are the only children she will ever have, but yet it almost seemed as though it was like, yeah, those are the only children I will have. I feel bad about it, but I guess we got other shit we got to do. I guess there's other things that we got to do. So it's not as bad as it could be. And then yeah, what the hell happened? Like, she goes up there with 3 dragons. One dies. We only see her return with 1. And even when they got to Eastwatch,
2.
we still no. I'm saying, when did you? I didn't see both dragons. I only saw.
I
one.
saw the other one.
Okay.
When it went down, you can kind of see him in the background flying.
All right, and well, when they got the Eastwatch, they definitely only showed 1. So,
Yeah.
but okay, Quinn, what were you gonna say real quick? And then I actually want to take. We got a couple of questions that I'd like to take before we go.
Okay. With the dragon thing, with it exploding, you see, that didn't bother me that much because I was like, dragons are fire-made flesh. On the inside, it's like maybe it's like got a combustion engine thing going on. So when it got punctured, it kind of created that reaction and it exploded. But I don't get why the Night King didn't fire at Drogon first. That didn't make a lot of sense to me. I thought Benjen's death was totally unneeded. I thought that Benjen could have just hopped on the horse. Jon Snow should have frozen to death. We can't just say he has all these powers that keep him from dying. Beric Dondarrion dies all the time from normal ways. Like, he's not special in the ways that he dies. Like, that should have killed Jon Snow. Jon Snow should have got on the dragon. Daenerys should have, because he didn't have to go back and fight. He could have just hopped on the dragon. Daenerys could have turned and roasted those whites. So the whole thing just was stupid. I didn't think Jon Snow should have bent the knee to Daenerys. She was already saying, I'm gonna fight with you, and then he's like, okay, I'm gonna bend the knee, even though it's gonna piss off the men of the North. I feel like that's just a stupid decision. If she's already saying that I'm gonna fight for you, why do you bend the knee? But yeah, everyone knows I had a bunch of problems with this episode, so yeah, go watch my review.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So let's get to some questions real quick.
Real quick, and then do the
super quick on the questions, and then we're out of here. Whoa,
Yeah, LT, we're getting some weird noises on your end.
Oh, sorry.
All right. So real quick from Alex, why didn't the Night King spear the 7 on the lake? They were stationary targets. So
I just asked that, so I think we can move on.
Let's see here. All right, from Gray Area, is Viserion a Walker or a White? Taking into
White.
consideration how he was turned. So, all right, he's a White. Everyone agree on that
White.
one?
Yep.
White.
Nope, he's a nice dragon.
All right. LT disagrees. All right, from Plexi.
I will say one thing. I think this confirms that Dany's going to lose a dragon in the books. It doesn't necessarily mean that she's is gonna die and do it in this way, but I think she's going to lose one either through Euron or in some similar manner here. I'm betting Euron's taking the dragon.
Okay. All right, from Plexi Bertrand. Let's see. Do you guys think Arya would disrespect both guest rights and kinslaying? Kinslaying.
Yeah, she has no respect.
Is he talking about in the books or in the show?
In the show, probably. I guess you're talking.
Well, I mean, like I said, I think this is all just forced tension. That it's all going to resolve in a happy way. This is all just forced tension.
Yes, I don't think she's actually going to hurt Sansa.
Yeah, but how would Ned Stark react to what she's doing to Sansa right now? Ned Stark would be like, what the fuck? Because even in season 1, he was like, she's your fucking sister. Calm the fuck down. And now she's like, she's still a child. She acts like a total child, and I just hate her so much. But I don't think she's going to hurt Sansa.
Okay.
She's not Arya. She's not really Arya. I don't know what they've done with her.
No.
Okay.
They might be close to each other's throats, but that's when Littlefinger will die, and Sansa has a knife, or the knife, so Sansa will kill Littlefinger, and they could be at each other's throats, but they're not going to hurt each other. Don't worry.
Okay. All right. Next up from Alex Plexico. Do you think we will see an ice dragon in the books?
Yes.
Most definitely.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Sam R09, why did the dragon blow up? I think we kind of already answered that one.
Yeah, we answered that.
Okay. From Logan Maloney, what season do you think the show started to go off book?
Season
5.
Well, yeah. Well,
really,
season 4.
5, mainly.
4 started it, and then season 5 just came out deep end, and it was just,
5 is the one that was really offensive about it.
yeah.
2, I mean, even 2 was started.
It changed a lot with Daenerys. Daenerys' car storyline is totally reworked in season 2. It's not even kind of.
They made an attempt.
It was still good. It was compelling. It was very.
for me, it was 5. 5 is when it went to fucking dog shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone
It was Gord. It was Gord.
It's when they stopped caring about trying to be loyal to the books.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
they stopped that in season 2, but
All right. So
At least they
But
did attempt.
at least they did-
Season
they
5
did-
is when
they did good
decided,
writing
oh
prior to that."
fuck it, let's do whatever the hell we want.
Mm-hmm.
well, that was season 5.
all right.
Yeah.
So last one before we go to numbers from Pyronucleus. Do you think Yara will get the Felia Flowers treatment?
No,
No.
because you're on completely different.
Okay.
No, you're going to be more focused on doing a finger in the bum.
Oh,
He's gonna carry Yara around on a leash, and she's gonna be his pet. She's gonna get the reek treatment.
All right. All right, let's go to numbers. Let's go to numbers, folks. All right, so LT, I know that you gotta run, and James, so we go. LT.
Already. Oh, never mind. Anyway, I'll give my ratings and my final thoughts. I don't think our Yara is gonna get that treatment. I think Theon's gonna save her in the end. I guess episode of 7.5. It's like some of the stuff is cringy, but visuals are great. It's by no means a great episode. It's good. It's a good episode, and I'm just hoping 10 could make us all happy, and we could be very happy because this isn't a happy episode. It's just an episode that makes you wonder about a lot of things.
Okay.
So 7.5.
Okay, Tinker.
I'm giving him the 7 because I'm really sad that the dragon died, and I don't like the Sansa and Arya storyline. But I do absolutely love the visuals of everything that happened north of the wall with the dragons. And, as long as it's not offensive like the whole Sansa and Arya, I'm just kind of ignoring all the logics. And I really just, when you're not focusing on the logics and stuff, it was really, really enjoyable. I enjoyed, the tension, the action, the visuals were amazing. So that dragon hadn't died, and the whole Sansa and Arya, this would have been one of my top episodes.
Okay, James.
To me, this all hinges on whether or not you can accept the large logical fallacy with the whole ravens and dragons and them not freezing to death thing. To me, I can't. To me, this is the second worst penultimate episode, as in, because this is only a 7-episode season.
Wow.
This is the second worst of the whole series. In terms of the second to last episode of the series, where they want to shock you. To me, as a Stannis fan, season 5, episode 9 will always be the worst by far. To me, there's just so many things I didn't like. I didn't like the Sansa Arya forced drama. I didn't like that logical fallacy. I didn't like Tyrion and Dany forced drama. I didn't like the fact they didn't build up Jon and Dany's romance more. There was some cool things. I'm not completely shitting on the episode. There was some cool things. I enjoyed the banter. I like the characters beyond the wall. But I can't overlook the huge logical fallacy. I give it a 5 out of 10.
Okay. Man, oh man. Quinn.
All right, so I thought this episode looked good. I give it a 2. Fuck this episode. I think it's one of the worst, if not the worst, in Game of Thrones history. I'm not here for this anymore. These fucking hack writers at HBO are just like so. Oh my god, I just hate them so much because like I can't get it. I can't get it out of my mind when they're like, "Oh, we're confident that we can tell George R. R. Martin's story on a small screen," and then fucking season 4 comes along and they're like, "No, it's time for us to move beyond the books and do our own thing." Just like they're liars, and I just it's 2. It's really bad for me.
Okay, all right. Let's see. I know Jerry is next, but we always play guess Jerry's numbers for this one. So yeah, go around the horn. What do you think that Jerry's going to give the episode?
4.
Tinker.
4.
James.
3.
LT.
If Quinn gave this episode a 2, I'm gonna say Jerry's gonna give it a 1.
Wow. I'll say 2 from Jerry. Jerry, go ahead.
Okay, I got two scores. My unbiased score, because this is just like the only thing that saved it from being the absolute the joke that fantasy was in the 80s and 90s and 70s. Is the dragon dying? That's the only thing that keeps it above. But I mean, everything else is just pretty much a joke. Yeah, this is 4 out of 10. Unbiasedly, 4 out of 10. Because of what it did to me as a Song of Ice and Fire fan, and made me feel like this is not even the essence has completely been cut from the cord. My bias is a 2. Bias 1 to 2, unbiased 4.
Wow. Okay, so wow. So wow, the scores varied so much on this one. So Tinker gave it a 7, James gives it a 5, Jerry gives it between a 2 and a 4, depending on what scale he's using. Quinn gives it a 2. LT, wait, hold on. LT, what did you give this one? Because I'm
7.5.
Nah,
Yeah,
LT,
7.5.
you gave it a 7.5? Wow.
And 5 was completely based off just illogical in terms of the TV show. If I still cared about the fact that they were adapting the books, I probably would have gave it a 2 as well. But
I mean, let's think about
really
it.
Based
For
off
LT,
logic.
this is the lowest score LT's given an episode with Barrett and Darren.
All right, and
I was gonna joke around and say, any episode with Barrick and Aaron is a 10, but no, this episode's not even close to a 10. Maybe I'm being too generous, but that's the score I came up with, and I'm gonna stick to it.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna go with a 5.5 on this one. Yeah, the logical stuff is wow. The logical stuff was really really hard to deal with. Or the illogical stuff was really hard to deal with. The cringeworthy Sansa and Arya dialogue really brought down the show. The saving graces were the kind of banter back and forth between the Magnificent Seven and certain parts of the battle with the White Walkers. But yeah, oh my God. Yeah, look, folks. We will see you. Well, I don't know if I will be here next Sunday, but I'm pretty sure the rest of the guys will be. I got invited to a special event, and I'm still debating on whether I'm going to go to that. But either way, yeah.
I think we need to have a community discussion about what happens next week. I have an idea, but we'll talk more later.
Yeah. Listen, I'd like to thank Quinn and also Tinker for joining us. I know Tinker is, in the far off distant lands right now across the narrow sea. And, Quinn doesn't normally do the live stream with us. So I'm grateful to him for joining us today. Thank you to everyone who watched us live. And thank you to everyone who will watch us later. Does everyone want to give a sign off real quick before we go?
This episode sucks.
I got
Ideas of
one
Ice and Fire.
That's good. That's good. That's good for all of us, I think.
Jerry.
I got one thing I want to say though. Everyone, check out tomorrow we got an eclipse, and while you're watching the eclipse, go and download Lucifer Means Lightbringer's podcast, because he has something about how an eclipse relates to a Song of Ice and Fire. It'll blow your fucking mind.
I was just gonna say that he's so good. Like, everybody watches videos, like, they're amazing. Like, his podcast is so good.
And listen, make sure to go and check out everyone's channel. Links are in the description. Jerry, what do you want to say real quick?
And I was gonna say, if you missed it yesterday, speaking of Lucifer Means Lightbringer, we did a reread of The Wayward Bride with Lucifer Means Lightbringer. Check it out on the Hype Squad's channel.
Yes, make sure to do that. Hopefully the audio was not too bad. Anyways, yeah, as I said before, thank you to everyone for being here live. Thank you to everyone who will be watching this later on. Hopefully we did not get 10 trillion thumbs down on this one, but you know what? At this point, who cares? Anyway, so you already know the deal. Rate, comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends to come back for more. That has been our time here at the Hypes Watch, and this is Don Willie saying Valado Hyris, and God damn it, Dan and Dave, you done fucked up.
Fucking Dan and Dave! God damn it!